El doctor Iselin Abulaish es reconocido en muchísimas esferas del mundo. Además, es uno de estos personajes que también ha llegado a todos los congresos, al Congreso estadounidense, al Congreso canadiense, y ha llegado a diferentes escenarios. El día de hoy nos acompaña, afortunadamente, porque su fundación, Daughters for Life, es una de estas fundaciones que tiene una historia espectacular. So welcome here to Now What, and we are talking about speaking community people here in Canada, and we really appreciate you are here with us today in this show. Why? Because in the Spanish side we have a lot of conflicts, and in our countries we live in a war so many times, and you were living in that in the Strip of Gaza. We want to know a little bit more, that you can explain us what happened with the Palestinians and Israelis in that small strip in Gaza, and what happened that changed your life.
The world is endemic with conflict everywhere, but for me as a Palestinian, I was born in this conflict. I was born in war, as if my life is a real war. Suffering, deprivation, poverty, to struggle. And in our life, I was fighting as a Palestinian to survive. And you see till now, millions, hundreds of millions of people are fighting to survive, just to live. And at time, you find others who are living to fight. And that's the question we want to ask ourselves. Where we were born to fight or to live and to give life to others. This conflict, which is happening in this world, it has its roots, it has its causes. It's not someone who is born with this violence or conflict. We need to find and to ask, not once, to ask 5 times why this is happening. Not to deal with it in a superficial way, but to dig deeper, to find the roots of the problems, as we take the medical history to do the medical examination to get the right diagnosis and to treat the disease, not the symptoms. And if we want to get rid of this conflict, dig deeper, get to the point behind this conflict and violence. Once you get it out, there will never be conflict or violence.
Esto tiene que ver con su carrera. Él es médico especialista en muchas áreas de conflicto humano. Y estas áreas de conflicto humano tienen que ver con su vida personal. Y es cómo encontrar esa enfermedad, pero de qué manera podemos sacarla de nuestra sociedad. El tema de la violencia, del dolor, del conflicto. Un sitio donde él ha vivido, donde muchos de nosotros hemos vivido. Países en conflicto toda la vida, donde se ha gestado la violencia. So when we are talking about the Strip of Gaza, we're talking about 2 different kind of people, cultures, country, hating us. And in that moment that you were living for many years of that, you decide, in the moment that something happened in your life that we are going to talk to our audience, that you just want to change that. What is the reason to live in the country? If you were living or were you born in another country, maybe you will not be the same person that is today.
And that's important for the people in this world to look around and to ask and to learn about what is happening. To see what is happening in this world. The Palestinians, where Gaza Strip is part of the future Palestinian state, they are deprived of everything. Anything any one of us wants for himself, but for Palestinians in Gaza Strip to say no. But the Palestinians in Gaza, they said no for giving up their rights. To live free as other nations, it's time for the people to understand that the most holy thing in the universe is a human being and the freedom. Saving one, we save the world. Killing one, we kill the world. It's time to look at a human being in this world as equal, not just as numbers. without names, without faces. When someone is killed in this world, we must all stand up for this one, not to be biased. This has a name, has a face, has a family, and others. We talk to talk them as a group of people. They have no names, they have no faces. It's injustice.
Es cierto, no somos un número, no somos una masa, somos seres humanos que tenemos ideas y queremos compartir muchas cosas. I just want to talk a little bit about that I should not hate. What happened with Iseldin Abolish is something that is related with the first page of his book. Is like, if I could note that my daughters were the last sacrifice on the road to peace between Palestinians and Israelis, then I will accept their loss.
Permítanos abrir la puerta a su nueva vida. Si vive en Canadá desde hace 3 años o menos, el programa Scotiabank Start Right es para usted. Este paquete puede ayudarlo a establecer su crédito o con asesoría financiera para la realización de sus sueños. Comience con el pie derecho. You're richer than you think. Scotiabank.
Hoy, en uno de los miles de escenarios, because you were in many other places all around the countries, we were in Europe, you were in the United States, in Canada, talking about what happened with yourselves, and you know, giving up something that keep in your heart. And all the time we were talking about maybe somebody who has just had a speech. There is somebody who just talk about his heart that is open all the time, and we learn all the time about you.
It's not my message, it's everyone's message. The book I wrote, it's everyone's book. We all carry the same message, and it's our responsibility to spread that message. It's a message of hope in a time the world is endemic with despair and frustration. It's a time the people to understand that tragedies are not the end of the world, and in every bad thing we see there is something good. And how can we invest and direct our energy to increase the goodness from the badness, and to take responsibility. And as you said, I will never accept the loss and the killing of my daughter till I meet them one day and to say to them, your souls and the blood made a difference. Your souls and the blood brought justice in this world, which is missing. It's time to understand that this world can endure with justice and the truth, which is missing. It's a rare commodity in this world. We need justice for all, not justice for one side and the other is not. When we speak about justice, to like for you, what do I like for myself? To put myself in the shoe of the others and to understand the needs of all. To understand that the safety of one is from the safety of the other, and that no one is free as long as others are not. And the most important, power and domination and military regimes, the gun will never last long. It's the weakest.
That's true.
It can stay maybe decades, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, but at the end it's the weakest. The human spirit, the human mind, and the goodwill among the people. And what is happening now in the Arab Spring, the fear has no place. Those who are running their regimes with military, brutal regimes, they are the weakest. And the history taught us that any military regime will never last forever.
That's the question, because Dr. Abolish lost her daughters, 3 daughters and a niece, at the same place in one moment that it was bombing by Israeli troops. And in that moment, that's his life changed. And
it didn't change my life. It made me more determined not to give up, because I am burned by the loss of the beloved ones. I know what is the meaning of the loss and how hard, as a doctor, I am working hard to save one patient. And in a moment, 3 of my beloved daughters and niece were killed for nothing they did. They were girls, armed with love, with education, with the plans, with the humanity. They cared about others. Each of them was a special world.
In one moment in your life, you were thinking, like many of us were asking ourselves, like sometimes something happened in our lives that we say, why not me? Why you were saved because of 5 seconds, because you were living in that room in 5 seconds.
I said, why? Why I was saved? If I stayed 5 seconds, I would be gone. And to be added to the numbers, because at that war, the Palestinians from Gaza, they were just numbers. 100, 500, 1,000, 1,200, 1,400 people were killed, and the world is watching it. It's time to stand up. When we see someone is killed, to stand to prevent the second killing, not to keep watching, paralyzed. It's time to speak up about it. So this tragedy came to open the eyes. It's those innocent girls who were killed. And what satisfied me the second day when was announced unilateral ceasefire by the Israeli Prime Minister and stopped this human craziness.
Dr. Abulash, sometimes we talk about doctors, that they save and they look for the lives, and they get a little bit, used for losing or saving lives. And you are pushing yourselves all the time in the human heart and how much we can go there to looking for our kids and what happened in our families. And sometimes we think that you are invulnerable about all those things. So when you are looking at your kids and your daughters, and your son came to you and say something very special that you shared today with us, and they say that maybe they are lucky because they are going to meet with their mother, and it was an amazing moment. So how you can give that message to all of us that we are dealing all the time between life and death and looking for our families and fighting and all those things on every day?
I can say to people, don't say tomorrow if you want to act. If you want to do something, do it today.
Comprar o vender tu casa es un proceso simple y seguro, siempre y cuando cuentes con la asesoría de un profesional. Como Francisco Garzón, miles de familias han logrado cumplir su sueño.
En la compra o venta de tu casa, alcanzar tus sueños es nuestra pasión, nuestro trabajo.
It's time to invest in our children, to educate them at that moment. This world, it will be the world that we are missing now. It will be the world that we want for us and our children. It's the human world, the happy and hopeful, a free, healthy world we will all enjoy and feel safe, secure, and happy. I used to travel to work, and I am a family person. I miss my family, my children. And if I knew what will happen, I will never travel. To spend as much as I can of my time with my children and my wife. So I can say to people, spend as much as you can of your time with the people you love. Hug them, kiss them, share with them, do something to help them, to educate them, to teach them. I succeeded in my life, but I will never forget from where did I come, that there are millions of people behind who are waiting to give them hand, to help them, to save them from the suffering they are drowning in. What happened? I was blessed to be a medical doctor to manage emergency situation. So I started to think of those who were severely wounded, to think of my daughter Shada, who was severely wounded, because as a medical doctor, I can't do anything for those who were killed. I can't return them.
That's something that personally and as a journalist, we want to ask you, because something related with a human being is like how you could work for your quotation enemies after what happened to you before and after you were giving your life for other people, doesn't matter where they're coming from.
I will continue that. And to be drowning in hate and revenge, nightmare of revenge, is not going to return my daughters back. What my daughters wanted from me to send them on daily basis, and that's what I'm doing. Prayers, blesses, good deeds, and to spread their message, and to keep them alive. And they are alive through the charity, through the speeches, through spreading the message everywhere, and to make a difference in others' lives. In that way, I keep them alive. Talking about them keeps them alive, to sensitize the people about what happened. Just a few months ago, I received an email from a Canadian woman to say, Iseldine, I want you to know that we have our first newborn baby. I named her after your first daughter, Bisan, to instill in our children love, peace, and rejection of conflict. She kept Bisan alive. On a daily basis, I receive messages and emails from the people asking, what can we do? You changed our life. These are the blessings to send to my daughter, to say them, you are alive. Through spreading the wisdom, the good deeds, and the kind words. And we need more people to join, because one can do everything, but each of us can do something. And it's time for each of us to do his part.
Let us understand a little bit what happened between cultures. Sometimes we say, fight for your beliefs, fight for your ideas, or fight for your loved ones. Which one you choose?
I will fight for the freedom of humanity and the human being and the life of the people. Because life is vital and hope is life. So I tell the people I will fight and to work to spread the hope among the people and not to lose hope, because we will never lose hope as long as we are living.
You have the choice to decide what happened in this life, especially in this small strip of Gaza. A big fight for many years between Jewish, Israelis, and Palestinians, two different cultures, two different gods. What means God, what means culture, what means who has to be true and who has the right to be there.
It's not the true, what are the rights? And what do we want? Do peace that we are looking for, that we all need it. But peace is not just a word. Peace is an action and feeling, and we live it and we enjoy it. We touch it. So what is missing is the action to bring the peace and the freedom. And peace can't be imposed on someone. It's not going to be by force.
That's good.
It must be. It should be by choice, and it's not going to be good for one. It must be good for all. And that the safety, the security, and the dignity, the future, and the freedom of one is linked to the safety, security, dignity, future of the neighbor. It's not dependent on the neighbor through oppression and occupation, but through sharing and showing respect. This will spread and bring the safety and security for all.
Comprar o vender tu casa es un proceso simple y seguro, siempre y cuando cuentes con la asesoría de un profesional. Como Francisco Garzón, miles de familias han logrado cumplir su sueño.
En la compra o venta de tu casa, alcanzar tus sueños es nuestra pasión, nuestro trabajo.
Permítanos abrir la puerta a su nueva vida. Si vive en Canadá desde hace 3 años o menos, el programa Scotiabank Start Right es para usted. Este paquete puede ayudarlo a establecer su crédito o con asesoría financiera para la realización de sus sueños. Comience con el pie derecho. You're richer than you think. Scotiabank.
We want to know about the human role, but especially the women role, that you are focused on that. As you will say, the orphan is not somebody who lost the father. Sometimes the orphan is somebody who really lost the mother. What is the role of the women today in these days?
No, in my life, and if each of us, we are in debt to our mothers, to our sisters. Personally, I am in debt to my mother, my wife, my daughters, who were behind my success. Because I fully believe an educated and healthy woman will raise educated, healthy children, husband, family, community, and nation. The woman is the school. If we equip this school with the means, the students will be great ones. So it's time to invest in education of girls and women, and it's time for women to take the lead. Give me 5 women in the history behind war. You don't find. Give them the opportunity, and I am sure if they didn't succeed, they will never fail.
Dr. Abulaish, so many times we just blame the humanity and we blame the men that they don't give the place for the women. And so many times we talk about, especially in our culture, about machismo. So how we can do it as a family, at home, or our audience that they are seeing
we have to
today?
understand, we as men and women, we are created, and we were created from Adam and Eve, not to compete, not to dominate, not to oppress and to humiliate, but to complement and support each other. When God created this universe and sent Adam and Eve, God sent Adam and Eve, one and one, to work together. And they created and constructed this world. And that's what is needed to go to our nature and the mission of our existence.
But who is going to understand this? The Buddhists, the Muslims,
Education,
the
it's education. No, religions are there to help us. Religions, all religions, they came to save humanity from slavery, to free the people from oppression, from the darkness to the light, but the people themselves to understand each other and don't blame others with the religion. Start the change to know and to learn about others. It's through education.
And the last thing I just want to ask you is sincerely to give us something ideas about what happened in Latin America. And as you know, you are going for many trips, visit all of our countries that they are living in conflict.
It's great countries there, great people with great resources, and with many things that others are missing, which is important: the spirit, the souls, the good hearts, and the warmness. And I think they can, and to understand that they have no other places to live in other than their home countries. So they should find the way, the common ground, to make it beautiful, to make it warm, as it is warm internally, to make it warm externally with love, with hope, and they will enjoy their life, to take care of their country, to spread the love, and to spread the wisdom and the good deeds. And they can capture the hearts of others, not with the gun, but with the kind words. And they have this means. God bless them with this value of being a human with big hearts and minds.
Dr. Ablesh, I know that it's hard for you every time you talk about your daughters and your wife and your family, that you lost it, but you keep it there and give you the power to continue and spread your word. If they were here, if they were seeing you that they are doing that in some place in this universe, what you should tell them today about your work?
I will say to them, I missed you. You are with me. You are living with me. I will never forget you. You give me the light, you give me the energy, and you are alive, and you made a difference in this world. Tell them rest in peace till I come to meet you.
I'm sure you're gonna do it. Thank you for giving us this incredible interview.
Thank you.
And I should say something that we learned from you.
Thank you.
With violence, with hate, nobody's going to recover their loved ones. Nadie podría recobrar a esas personas que más ama con el odio o la violencia. Somos parte de eso y de esta campaña, y Nahuatl se une también a la fundación del Dr. Ablesh, I Should Not Hate. El día de hoy quisimos presentárselos a ustedes y aquí está, este gran personaje de la humanidad. Thank you so much to be with us today.